G'day everyone. Sorry for the extended intro there. Want to keep you guys guessing. And apologies for not doing a live yesterday. Just had too much shit going on. Very interesting day though. We sort of found a lot of resistance at the 1 hour 200 EMA, which I guess is to be expected in this environment. Stocks are still trying to find a base. And we'll go through some key stuff. I'm going to try and skip over some of the stuff that may not be as important, but just to try and keep it a bit quicker for you guys and for me, really. So, first of all, liquidity-wise, there was a fair chunk down here at just above 80k. We've taken that now. There's hasn't left a lot behind apart from this stuff here. So, I'm starting to think that we've actually the majority of the traders that are left in the system, the big guys that are placing these massive trades, they're a bit smarter about the way they trade because we're not seeing as many people going super leverage long on these drops, just as a proportion. But a lot of these guys are putting their stop losses just above the previous highs, which is what a lot of traders would do, like proper experienced traders. These guys are probably the safer bet. But so there was a lot here. If we go out to the weekly time frame, there should be a fair chunk there. There is still a lot above though. So we've taken this chunk in here, which 2 million sort of levels. That's a fair bit. But the fact we got sort of 4 million, 3 million, 2 million, we got those sort of numbers up here. Pretty sure we're going back up there, but it's just a matter of whether the market can reverse or not at the moment. So there's got to be the buyers interested to actually push that up there, and market makers can potentially do it, but there still has to be some other support as well. So just be mindful of that. We still have quite a bit of liquidity below here as well. We've recovered most of the vector candles that are in this area here. There is still some more. This one here is another vector candle. So down into the 77s again. And if we go that far, then we've got to really be careful that we just probably sweep this low just because of this. So you're up early today, buddy. You can just have a lie down on the couch there for a bit. Go upstairs and watch TV. Maybe I'm doing a lot. Turn it on. All right. So yeah, this is the bit to watch out for. I do expect we will potentially sweep this, but at the same time, don't expect it to actually drop much lower at this particular point, mainly because I think stocks are getting ready to bounce. And I think Bitcoin will lead the way. So we may not even take this yet. It may take a while to get down to that. But we got some pretty good areas above that will be targets, but they'll also probably be resistance as well. So just be aware of that. Yeah, 76. Basically, like it'll probably sweep into the 75 level, I would think. It'll look pretty dire then, but I think that'll actually get a fairly decent bounce off that level. For the time being, though, that does look like a dead cat bounce on the shorter time frame. So, no, it's, as I said, I've said it for a while now, 1 foot out the door on these things. I did have a short hedge on last night. I did take some profits down here, mainly because it was a key level of liquidity. I just saw it starting to slow down. I've actually added back up here, not the full amount, but just because we left this candle here is a vector candle. So I figure we'd probably at least come down and recover this if we don't actually just continue further. So, again, 1 foot out the door. I've only taken partial profit because it was a hedge on the long that I had going. So yeah, that's patience is key through this area. There's going to be lots of bounces. Protection. Okay. Come and kill it later. Just run around it at the moment. Okay. Or do you need it dead so you can go to the toilet? Dead. All right. Can you go to the other toilet for a sec? Okay. Thanks, buddy. Sorry about that. That's what you get when your kids get up at 10 to 6 in the morning. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So spot CBD is still in an upward trend. It's starting to roll over though with price action, but it's putting in. Can you turn it on? Okay, bear with me. I'll be back in a sec. All right, I'm back. Sorry, son's developed a little bit of a phobia of bugs and ants. Oh wow, still got someone actually watching this. All right, so as I was saying, still it put in a bit of a higher low here when we got a lower low here. That's not a bad sign. And I'll tell you why this is an important level as well at the moment. This little bounce that we've got, but it does coincide with the middle of a channel. Plenty of green on the bid-ask delta, so people are hitting the ask, I believe. That isn't a bad thing, but we're quickly going back into the red. So, and that could just be to bring it into a vector candle recovery there. But because of these vectors we still haven't reclaimed here and this one in here, I'm still, again, just wary that we might come down a bit further. Done the liquidity. All right, just quickly, smart money, dumb money. Someone wanted me to call it uninformed money the other day. Anyway, that's what this chart's called. Smart money, dumb money. Smart money is, I wouldn't say all in, but they're getting pretty happy with these levels. Dumb money is capitulating. So that's what we want to see before we get a bounce. I do believe the market's pretty red again today. I'll have a look at that in a second, but I suspect this will go, a little bit higher before we actually turn around. Bitcoin mining costs are down a bit as well. Obviously, when price comes down, it's a little easier to mine. This is the other one I wanted to point out. We still haven't got any trades that are anywhere near these levels at the high. All right. We'll see how we go at the close today. I think we may get one come through either today or tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. If we just increase this to the 20 largest, we may actually pick up the one from the other day. Yeah. So there's still a lot more up here that people were selling into retail at the tops. But we're starting to get a little bit of interest here. I'd like to see another one come through on this dip, wherever we end up. And I think you'll probably see a few more come through. But this, to me, like the fact that we're not getting heaps of buy-in here, it's suggesting that this is just the start of the bear market, as far as I'm concerned. We'll see what happens over the next week or two, or month, really. If we chop around here and get lots of buy-in, then yeah, we could go on another pump. But the second pump in the last cycle was mainly retail. There wasn't a lot of big guys involved in that, and we don't have retail really in there this time. So just be aware of that. We do have institutions, so maybe that'll balance it out. But at the moment, institutions aren't really super interested at these levels. So just do the last 7 days. There's a bit of interest through here. A little bit of a sweep here too on the drop. That's not bad. These aren't dark pools though, so these are on they call them lit blocks, but they're exchanges that you and I can actually use. The DP, the dark pools, are the exchanges that we can't get access to. All right. Looks a little bit worse when you go to just the 10 largest trades. It still picks up that one. That's good. So there is some interest here. Keep that in mind. Coinbase. You'd like to see another one at the end of day today that is similar in size to that, or at least a sweep or something, just to provide some support there. A lot of these seem to be finding support right at the lows here too. So break of those lows could look a little nasty. Again, a couple of dark pools on the 2x long fund for Coinbase as well. Not huge, but they are at that base level again. Marathon hasn't really had anything. We'll see if we get something come through here. I think these were accumulation, but it's hard to tell at this stage. XLP. So XLP, I've actually shown the monthly here. You can see the consumer staples obviously did have a bit of a run up. A little bit of selling, I think, across the top. So we have pulled back on XLP, which typically that would be a sign that risk is back on a little bit. And it's tricky. XLY is still coming down pretty hard though. So consumer discretionary still hasn't got a big bid on it. Like to see that have something decent come through. There is some decent dark pool activity happening on the NASDAQ and the SPY though. So keep that in mind. whatever bouncing, we need to put in a base. We need some chop. We need some volume to come through. We need some accumulation to really go on a decent bounce from here. But still think it's going to be a dead cat bounce regardless. So we'll see. Technology looks like it's found support around here. Haven't really had another dark pool come through intraday. We'll see what happens at the end of day. XLU, so utilities pulling back a little bit as well. Generally, it's a defensive sector, so having it pull back is a sign that we're getting close to the local bottom as well. Financials hasn't really broken these levels yet either. So we did have a dark pool sweep here. Haven't really gone back below that. A big drop on this, and that won't be a great thing. Bit of action on healthcare as well, so it did pull back. Yeah, might be getting close to a bottom on that as well. All right, onto the charts. Okay, so this is a good sign that this might actually be more of a significant low. What I will want to see basically is 2 candle closes above this 13 EMA. You'll notice here too, I've actually Lux Algo released this forward backward EMA indicator the other day, and I sort of just did some visual back testing of it, and it's pretty good. And I actually found this one as well, looking for something similar. And the two of these combined are really interesting. I won't go into it too much now, but basically, if this one here is below the yellow line, it's bearish. Above is bullish. Same with this. If it's below the green below the red, it's bearish. Green above the red, it's bullish. Now, you get some chop still. These are EMAs after all, or related EMAs. So it's a confluence thing, but it can give you some really good confidence in the extent of the move that's happening. Particularly this one. I think this one is reasonable for finding bottoms and things like that. So I've actually been playing around with this and using that a little bit for confluence. Yeah, I want to see 15-minute closures above the EMA to really get interested in this. We do have, so this is the hourly Bollinger Band 25 period in here, the blue band there. That's potentially going to provide some resistance. It's going to come in at the same level as the 50 EMA on the 15-minute. If we start to break back inside that, then that typically will lead to further upside. But for the time being, just a couple of closures above the 13 EMA would suggest that we've got a temporary bottom. We are leaving a vector candle here. It hasn't been fully recovered yet. And we are also bouncing off the middle of this channel, which has been really good. Like those that have watched this a bit, you'll know that this channel has been important for quite a long time. Yeah, we break above and below it a little bit, but basically ever since the all-time high, that was the top of that channel. And this has been governing us pretty well ever since, with a little bit outside it either way. And we're still in that zone at the moment. So bottom of the channel would be a sweep of the previous lows. That would get us down. I mean, we could get there in a day, but 76k bottom of this channel, sweep below that into the 75s wouldn't surprise me, but I'd be very surprised if we slipped straight through that, just given the strength of this channel so far. And if we do slip through it, you're looking for the recovery. If we reject off that, then look out below. That's going to get nasty. That's sort of, to be honest with you, I'd say to be high 60s at that point. So yeah, this is why we wait for candle closes. We should anyway. You want to see that close. Now, middle of the 15-minute candle, you do expect some retrace of the initial move. But it actually looks like rejection of 13 EMA. So, yeah. We'll see what the candle ends up doing. But a retest of the mid band here would be a recovery of this vector candle. So a bounce from that would suggest sort of further upside. Where it's going to find resistance up here, there's a lot of levels, both on the liquidity and on the charts, just from the EMAs and the Bollinger Bands there. But it's just a matter of patience, seeing how it gets through these levels. Quick trades in and out are probably the order of the day. It's still a decent level for a DCA potentially, but with the threat of potentially coming down here, you wouldn't go all in at this level. So yeah, these are the sort of the vector candle recovery levels over here as well. We did recover the first vector here. So we have recovered this one. We just sort of left this one here so far. And then obviously you got this vector candle in here as well. And the wicks. So, yeah, good little bounce, but I want to see it back above that 13 EMA. All right. I'll head back over here, and on the bigger channel, so on the 1 hour, the daily sort of channel that we've had on there for a while as well. So there was another one through this first high. That has also been giving sort of decent levels after this drop back inside it. Funnily enough, the mid band of this channel is sort of the top of the other channel. We're very close to it. And we're in kind of no man's land on this one. So it does look like the start of this hourly candle is looking a bit negative, but hourly candles can change a hell of a lot. So momentum could... Oh, that was... The signal line's exactly on the momentum line. So for that previous candle, it is pointing up at the moment where price action is 10 minutes into this candle, but if that drops, that will switch back below the signal line, I think. BBWP is still elevated. We're still in the bearish control zone, so we've got to be a little bit careful taking any longs from here, I would think. The other one is total versus stable coins. Again, the 50 EMA on the 1 hour for this one has been pretty significant resistance. We haven't been able to confirm above it yet. There is a bit of a trend line that went through the highs there, which we could pick up again. That would potentially bring us down back below here again. I would expect that to provide some support as well. We haven't really got up, and apart from this little pullback into very close to that trend line, which that's your bull market support trend line, haven't really got back up for like a proper retest, or what I would like to see as a proper retest on the daily. We did retest it, I guess, a bit more in previous market, like bear market drops. So just keep that in mind. Still think there's a bit of a target above here, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens if we do hit that level. That'll pretty much confirm the bear market if we reject off that, or if we can't stay above it for very long. Have a quick look at ETH as well. So ETH still looks like a basing formation here at the moment. You know, not looking too bad. CME, CME's actually recovered a bit more of this candle here than what the sexes have. Oh, yeah, no, I guess I recovered a fair bit of it. Looking at it on the 1 hour, it does actually look like more of a vector candle recovery, but the 15 minutes suggests we could go a little bit lower. I sort of want confluence between all the, like the 15 minute and the 1 hour to really confirm a bounce or support point. Yeah, for the time being, it's not looking great. We're below all the key moving averages here on the hourly. Need to start really breaking through this level. And on the 15 minute, as I said, there's this 200 EMA on the 1 hour is right at the top of that 15-minute channel. So it's going to be a big break. If we do break above that, it should lead to some pretty significant moves. But for the time being, this is looking pretty negative still. Okay, we do have an uptick on this FBE oscillator, and this one's looking good for a bounce, but they can have little blips on them as well. So retest this level looks likely. See what happens at that point. It is overextended to the downside on the 15-minute linear regression channel as well. If we just move that to the 1 hour, still got a little bit to go once it actually calculates. Yeah, so we're actually coming in just into the mid band on the 1 hour linear regression channel. Yeah. So at least recovery of this vector candle here, half of it would be a retest of that midpoint. I think that's what we've got to, that's the key moving forward today. Looks like it wants to do it now. It's an interesting forward projection on the FBE indicator there. All right, so go back into this one. Just have a quick look on the daily too. So daily looks pretty nasty, but volume's not huge. So again, it's potentially more of a basing kind of pattern. Stochastic momentum is still below the daily signal line. Yeah, it's looking like more down is likely on the daily, but daily's not one I look at for bottoms really. It's more for a momentum thing and potentially sort of oversold, overbought areas. And we're getting pretty close to that at the moment. And if we do bounce soon, that will be a bullish divergence on stochastic momentum, which is an important signal. CME is getting support off the 800 on the daily, 200 on the daily. Where are we? Yeah, we're below that on Bybit though. Looks a bit nastier when you look at this on the daily as well. Total versus stables. All right, NASDAQ. Again, freaking people out, getting new lows and then getting support. It does seem to be a bit of buying going on from the big guys here. Commodity trade advisors, CTAs, they're max out at the moment. They've capitulated. Typically, they're late to the party. So, just are we in a good spot here? I'd like to see NASDAQ actually come further into this candle here. I think it's an okay level. It would surprise some people being at this level to bounce from here, but it does actually kind of look like it wants to go a bit lower. Just if we get a bit more accumulation or another day up from there, that'll be a decent level. I think the reason I had that level further down was we've been looking for a 10 to 15% correction. That would freak people out. We'd be getting close to a 20% correction there, which typically that's a technical bear market. There's still a bit of support here on the Qs though, in terms of this trend line. So we could chop around a little bit more. Again, there is a vector candle here on the Qs as well. A little bit more of a sweep and then maybe a bounce. Again, this vector candle is sort of the target. And on this one, there's again the two trend lines here. That's not as strong of a trend line in terms of the parallel that we had. That's probably more the trend line there. So we are getting into some key areas here. I don't think we'll drop too much more before we get a bounce, but we haven't really seen confirmation yet. Equal weight, again, is at a key level that, it's just reconfirming this trend line here. Closure above that would be positive. Closures below that would be pretty negative. S&P 500. Again, looking pretty negative. We haven't even retested the 200 EMA yet, so it's just a matter of where it wants to bounce from to do that. And, pulling up into gap closes here, 5,700 would be an interesting level for rejection. Yeah, coming into this zone, again, there was a vector candle block in there. Getting pretty close. BBWP is overextended. Momentum's still to the downside though, so just be careful on the daily. Minis are similar, same sort of deal with the vector candles there. Again, this one here is probably more of a parallel. Could find an argument for it somewhere through there. But there is a lot of confluence just down, a little bit further down into 54, 60-ish. Equal weight has actually fallen below that trend line. That's not great. It has recovered this wick here though. Wasn't a vector candle, but there would be some vector candles in here just given the size of that wick. And it has basically recovered it. There is a gap down, a little bit lower. See how we go, but for the time being, there's no real sign of turnaround on equal weight yet either. At least not on the daily. good support level here for IWM. We did hit that eventually. Been waiting for it. Again, not a bad level, but we still have some reasonably close key levels below as well. So 190 on IWM is going to be, if we keep dropping on NASDAQ and S&P 500, then I would expect IWM to get down to that level. Very close to it. And that is a projection on that channel as well in terms of projected drop. XLI, kind of, well, we've broken below that channel. I'd actually expect XLI to come a bit lower as well, into 125. Thought I had a, that was there. Thought I had a horizontal level on that, but should be support. We can get rid of that vector support. I'll actually, might make that resistance. I think that'll be an interesting level if it bounces. So XLY, XLP, kind of a, we had a bounce, but you'd almost call that a retest of that level. I don't think that's all we got, but yeah, it's fairly negative. Momentum is grinding to the upside on this now, though, so just, that's an interesting little tidbit. A bounce on XLP versus SPY as well. I think this will still come further down to retest this level properly, especially if we do find a bottom soon. What I don't want to see is this breaking above that level. That would mean quite a bit further down on markets. Equal weight, XLY, XLP. Yeah, it might come a little bit further too. So it's going to be choppy for the next 2 days, I think. What's today? Friday. Oh, next. Yeah. Friday and Monday are likely to be a bit choppy. Next week we'll probably get chop as well. It's probably going to need some consolidation before we actually get a bounce. Wait and see. That kind of looks like a retest of this trend line on equal weight though, so that wouldn't be a great thing if we keep trending up on this. Again, breaking this level here, I think is going to be nasty. If you're looking for a bounce, you want to see this back above that. Oh, sorry, back below that trend line. Regional banking, again, not a bad trend line there for some support. Let's close the gap. Financials, bit of consolidation here. Hope it's accumulation. It might drop into this 200 EMA though. There is a gap here as well. Full gap closed down into 46. Would make a bit of sense. This is the concerning thing for me. That is not a good sign at all. You want home construction to actually bounce pretty soon and get back above this trend line. Otherwise, that's signaling we could actually flush on markets quite hard. There is a trend line here on home builders that it might hit. So home builders has broken this key level as well. There was a vector candle there. Back into supply here though, there should be a fair bit of interest in it at this level. Just see what we got on ITB in terms of trend. Yeah, we're pretty close to the level there. Actually broken that trend there. Yeah, that's not looking great. Not looking great at all. So Generally, 1 foot out the door is best here still, because these look pretty nasty. The only thing is, I think we'll find a bounce in the next, let's call it the next week, just to give it a reasonable time frame to do what it needs to do. But wow, we've broken some really important levels on some of these indexes. DJI gold is just still getting smacked. That's suggesting maybe a little bit more down until I would expect somewhere around this level here. Let's call it there. We should get a bounce from that. That should support the market. But wow, this is looking not healthy. We've actually broken this key level on DJT versus gold as well. That's wow. Okay. That's like COVID low levels where we're getting to on these particular indicators on that ratio. That'll be an interesting level for a bounce, I think. Will it come all the way there? Potentially not. We may actually bounce sooner than that, but it's already pretty well hit the top of this little range in here. It's kind of what we're potentially going to see too, is we're potentially going to see a bit of chop at the bottom. But that was a major low too. I don't know whether we've really hit that major low yet. Unfortunately, this indicator doesn't go back past 2017. Actually, I wonder if I go gold and silver sector index. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I do want. Anyway, maybe DJT doesn't go back past 2017. Well, it does. I'll find something better that goes back a bit longer. But anyway, yeah, not looking good for DJT there. Transport sector is an important one to keep an eye on, because typically transport sector's dropping. It means the economy is not looking good. DJI, it's potentially got more to come. Hey, like that double top, but we haven't retested that level either, and that's one of the things. We haven't retested the 200 EMAs. If we're coming into, if we're bouncing, we're coming into this level here, basically a retest of this break, and we're rejecting off that and the 200 EMA, then it will come down there and things will look a lot more nasty. It's just a matter of how big are the dead cat bounce is going to be at this stage. The economy is panicking at the moment, which is a good thing. Kind of want to see that. Skew got slammed again yesterday. This was an indicator for me that we were potentially going to go a bit further down. This is definitely one to keep an eye on. We are at basically this low here from 2024. That's a pretty major low. Haven't really spent too much time at this level since before April 2023. So really start of the recovery. Yeah, should get a bounce soon. Hey, like, don't have to, but just keep an eye on this because that'll give you a bias and just something to be careful of for the next trading sessions. The VIX 1 day is pulling. It's bounced a little bit. Again, if it's not making high highs, like there is divergence on this versus price action, so I'm kind of expecting, just based on this, we may get a little bit further down, so this may bounce a little bit more, but I'd be surprised if we're breaking new highs on this. If we do, then that'll get nasty. But you want to see this pulling back as well. If we see this starting to break down again, then prices should go up. DAX seems like it's consolidating a little bit here. Hasn't really, like, if DAX breaks these sort of levels, I'd actually be expecting the US stock market to go up because it seems like they're pretty well, I wouldn't say inversely correlated at the moment, but the US market was going down as DAX was peaking. And it just seems like there's that shift of money. It's sort of global at the moment. Out of the ones that's been beaten down for a while, out of the ones that's been going up for a while into the ones that's been beaten down. UK market looks like it got a little bit of a bounce off the 50. It's probably still going to find a bit of resistance though at that trend line, if it gets that far. There's a fair horizontal support around here too. Bring it down a little. Never really retested that properly either. Japanese yen, Japanese market. It's found a decent level of support so far. Bullish divergence on stochastic momentum. Japanese market and US market have been reasonably well correlated lately. TLT, bit of a bounce, back above the 50 EMA. Yeah. High yield junk got really close. It closed the gap here. Got really close to that support line. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it not hitting that line. Yeah, in a minute, but I'm nearly done here. Okay. So yeah, need to see that recover that trend line, I think. But if it does, that would signify a bit of a bounce. LQDIF, that needs to get back above that trend line and that horizontal support line to really confirm to me that we're bouncing. It's looking pretty nasty though. So this is a bond ratio, and for the time being though, that's still momentum to the downside. I'd like to see that really switch up on the daily. 2 years still grinding away at this level, trying to decide which way it's going. Same with the 10-year. So the interesting thing here is we are getting a pretty decent correction on this. Let's go to the monthly. Kind of expecting it to get into these levels though over time. Be bouncy, but yeah, we want to get into this sort of level. That's the inflation rate. So copper looks good on the monthly. Looks like a vector candle recovery though. Let's go to the daily. bit of a breakout. Again, copper going up and the market not is kind of weird. But it is vector candle recovery. This could drop at any time. We can do a measured move on this. Should be something similar to that. And we're getting pretty close to that at the moment. So typically the middle move is the longer move. So yeah, a little bit higher, more of a vector candle recovery, and then a drop. That'd look pretty nasty as well. Gold getting very close to this trend line again. If we break above that trend line, that's going to be nuts. Break and confirm, I'd actually probably buy into gold. As I said, I had a nibble the other day, but only on the Aussie ETF. Interesting there. Silver's back above this trend line too, so like to see another closure above that just to confirm it. And that could go on a fairly decent run. It does look like a bit of a flight to safety. Oil kind of getting rejected around that value area low. That could come down quite a bit too. It's looking recessionary kind of markets at the moment. US dollar's getting a little bounce here. Won't be helping the market go up. Japanese yen is still strong against it though. It's the euro that's pulling back a little bit. Euro went for the full vector candle recovery there. We thought it might, or I thought it might sort of pull up there a bit, but recovered the whole lot. So I'd expect euro to come down pretty hard here, 60 to go up. So global liquidity is still kind of ticking to the upside a little bit. Yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. It's kind of in no man's land though. Like I want to see this moving up more if we're going to have a decent bounce. We do have a new read on Australian average house prices, and that actually came down in December, which kind of new. There's data sources that publish earlier than this, but yeah, not a huge surprise there. Typically, not a great sign for markets, especially when you're getting at levels where we're looking at basically recessionary kind of signals. Kind of glad I sold my house yesterday. Percentage of stocks for above 50-day moving average. That actually looks like it will potentially keep coming a bit lower here. So, and maybe another couple of days down just to get these into previous lows. Apple, oh sorry, Mag 7, testing the lows again. Do we get a 32% correction on these? We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, they're kind of confirming a breakdown from this range. We'll see. This could go either way here. There is potentially another support level above the one I've got there, but somewhere around there. So we might not go all the way there to start with, but I do actually think we'll get there eventually, at least, if not potentially a fair bit further down. Tesla had a good bounce, but still getting some selling. Bit of a gap close there. You kind of want to see it doing that with momentum switching to the upside. Nvidia. And when you've got big drops like this too, retail's capitulating, it tends to take a while to actually find that bottom. Because the big guys will just start accumulating while retail's still panicking and selling out. And those little drops like today can lead to further selling just because, again, they're panicking. So Nvidia is back above this trend line. So that's a good sign for Nvidia. Maybe pull back in to close that gap a bit more, though. We'll have to wait and see. Google, still a good level for a buy, I think. Microsoft looks like it may want to come more into that supply area first. Arcade still hasn't broken down from that channel yet. So that's not a bad sign. It's like a good area for reversal. Apple probably needs to come down a little bit more for realistically for a proper reset or for a proper bounce level. It's pretty well done the measured move on this channel though, regardless of where you want to measure that channel. It's just we've got a bit of a vector candle in here. And probably a little bit further down on Apple. Triple M's stayed quite high. Ooh, Amazon rejected from that levels. Potentially going to pick up this trend line. Meta rejection off that trend's not great, but it does have a bit of support around here, 200 EMA. So again, another down day wouldn't surprise. Airbnb, wow, just that's freaking. If you're shorted Airbnb there, you're happy at the moment. But after such a good earnings, everything's just getting slammed, and Airbnb will get slammed because it's a like consumer spending kind of stock. I'm gonna potentially try and get some Airbnb around this level, though. I think for the bounce, like look at the video, like previous video I did, the first 30 minutes or so. I think the next 6 months could be quite choppy. I don't know that we're going to go straight down. I don't know that we're going to chop for 6 months, but that's what happened in the .com bust was we sort of had one big quick drop to start and then it sort of recovered and chopped sideways. I think it even made a new all-time high or something during that year. And so I'm kind of looking at October for being the real end of the market. But man, the way we're going down at the moment, it could still just keep slipping. Like there's nothing to say we have to bounce here, especially if we don't start to see the big guys buying in. TSM's at a key level as well. TSM coming in here for a vector candle recovery would be of interest. That would be a big drop. 40%. There are stocks that have already done that, like Tesla and stuff. So yeah. ASX 200. I did have a nibble on that yesterday as well. Bought into it a little bit. I did actually sell part of this position as well, just because I think I'll probably be able to buy in a little bit lower again. I have a feeling that'll at least sort of come down and retest this level. $4.71. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Total crypto market cap is, again, I mean, this is a downtrend. I haven't really seen confirmation of a reversal yet. We have hit a interesting level for me, just because through here we did get a bit of resistance, so that could be support. Again, it was kind of in that little bit of chop on the way up as well. I better go now because I think my son's about to chew his arm off if he doesn't get some breakfast. But ETH BTC longs, these guys are still going nuts. This is just hilarious to me watching that. I hope they get a payout day, but god damn, it doesn't look like it. That's potentially what's actually keeping the price low. If they don't, market maker's not going to want to pay these guys out. But it looks like they can hold on to positions for quite a while. I still think Bitcoin dominance has probably got a little bit further to come here too. Just that vector candle wick there is of interest. Momentum's switching back pretty hard at the moment. I know. Okay, I'm coming now. I'm done. All right. Hang on. I'll just check Sol. Let's have a look at Sol. Yeah, there's still basing sort of patterns on some of these. Okay. Better go. Catch you later.